All right. Keith Thurman and Terence Crawford going back and forth at it. Please, 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 can we have this fight? Please. Any good fight with Terence Crawford, I will take. But Terence Crawford tells Keith Thurman to stop playing, don't stop playing with him. And that if he did send him the contract, more than likely he's going to find a way to get out of it. Test him, Terence. Test him. Send the contract. Make him do it. Call his bluff. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We still in the middle of this boxing lockout and household lock-ins because of this virus. And, so we're out here talking about what boxers are talking about. That's the news in boxing. You ain't having fights, but you're having a lot of verbal sparring. It's really happening in the boxing world. So, hey, man, it is what it is. Let's talk about it, man. We're going to talk a lot about the politics of boxing, talk about the business of boxing, talk about the interpersonal relationships between, the relationships between boxers and, get to hear what the boxers are actually thinking. So, hey, man, it's, there's goods, there's silver linings to this stank ass cloud that is floating over the top of our head, man. And so one of these things is what what's been going on with Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford has been very vocal on Twitter. Keith Thurman has been very vocal. Errol Spence has been vocal. Sean Porter's been vocal. Manny Pacquiao not so much. But that's to be expected. He's got stuff to do over there but actually you've heard him too. He said that he would be open to fighting Mikey Garcia. You know that he's open to fighting Errol Spence Jr. At least he says that. According to Bob Arum, his people, Manny Pacquiao's people told Bob Arum that he would be willing to fight Manny Pacquiao. So, there's a lot of people out there talking. Definitely a lot of Ryan Garcia bumping his lips, and Devin Haney is doing a lot of talking. I don't mean to be condescending with Ryan Garcia. Actually, I'm actually liking Ryan Garcia more now than I did before. Dude's got a really good personality, and he'll attract people to the sport of boxing. Keith Thurman, and that falls right in line with Keith Thurman. Because Keith Thurman, in my opinion, is that type of guy. He's somebody that, before this 2-year layoff, was a very charismatic, very funny, very an excellent fighter. And I thought reasonably, for a while he was the best welterweight in the world. But he has his car accident. He didn't have a car accident. That was Errol Spence Jr. But he had whatever he said he had a car accident too. Something that messed up I don't know if that messed up his hand or shoulder or whatever. But he has these series of injuries, right? So he's very inactive for 2 years. At the same time that he's being inactive for that, what he's saying out of his mouth is that he's not interested in fighting Terence Crawford. He's not, Terence Crawford. Who's Terence Crawford? He got that WB no belt. You also have, he actually said that a little after the Manny Pacquiao fight, but he, so that basically, and he also would say that he's not, say things to Errol Spence like, hey man, get your weight up, young man, or, you're getting there, young man. Maybe one of these days, if you keep, taking your vitamins and eating your vegetables, you'll be big and bad enough to fight me. That type of attitude, and that type of attitude along with a layoff, was really, really damaging to the reputation of Keith Thurman around a lot of his fans. But regardless, he comes back, and now it seems like after having lost to gotten his humble pie off of a 40-year-old Manny Pacquiao, that he wants to get back in the mix. He wants to be a champion again. And I'm hoping that's true. I hope that means that he really does, he really does have his hunger back, and that he's very serious about making the fights. Because when he said that about not Sean Porter, he said about Terence Crawford, like, send me the contract, send me the contract and see if I sign it, right? That's what Keith Thurman said to Terence Crawford. So Terence Crawford said, man, don't play. If I sent you that contract, then you try to find a way to get out of it. And so with that, I say, Terence, send him the contract. Send it to him. Prove him wrong. Prove him wrong. Get a contract, whatever it is, send it to him. Send it to him. And if he doesn't sign it, he doesn't sign it. But send it to him. Bob, sign it to him. Put the date TBD or in no less than 360 days. No more than 360 days from the signing of this agreement, we will fight one another. Give a guy and pay him some consideration, give him some consideration, send him some money, send him something, lock it down, man, lock it down. You know what I mean? Get a right of first refusal or something, anything, there is some instrument that can tie Sean Porter in enough to ensure that you guys have a serious negotiation about making a fight. Please do that. Is it an offer sheet? I don't know. Make an offer sheet. Do something to call Keith Thurman's bluff and see if he's serious about fighting you. What I believe is that you'll find is that he's serious, because I don't know what else Keith Thurman has to do. Keith Thurman is a fighter. Keith Thurman got a real pretty wife. Keith Thurman got to pay for that really pretty wife. And, he's got a standard of living. And who knows how much money the guy had, what happened to his financial situations out 2 years. We know that he got some nice paydays in 2019, but he's going to want some more of them. And who else is he going to fight? Terence Crawford is no more risky for Keith Thurman than Manny Pacquiao is. He's no more risky because he's already lost to Manny Pacquiao. Since you lost to Manny Pacquiao once, you can lose to Manny Pacquiao again. So there you go. No more danger. You can lose to Terence Crawford, you lose to Manny Pacquiao. Okay, you can lose to Manny Pacquiao, you can lose to Errol Spence. He can lose to Errol Spence Jr. too. Shoot, he was in close enough a fight with Sean Porter and Danny Garcia, then there's a potential, if he dipped off a little bit and those guys make adjustments, that they can beat him too. So, there's no real safe place to run for Keith Thurman. And even if there was a safe place to run for Keith Thurman, the runtime Keith Thurman, there ain't nowhere to run. And the two people with the money ain't fighting him. Manny Pacquiao has not mentioned Keith Thurman in a Keith Thurman rematch. Ain't mentioned it. But he did mention about Keith Thurman was that Keith Thurman hurt him a lot worse than many people thought he hurt him. So Manny Pacquiao knows that there's a risk in that fight with Keith Thurman. And although Manny Pacquiao is somebody that is known to give people a bunch of rematches, he's also known not to give people rematches in fights that he lost. In a fight that he actually lost, like Jeff Horn. He wasn't looking for Jeff Horn again. He said, yeah, I'll fight Jeff Horn. It's in the Philippines, it's in China, whatever. I'll do that. But I'm not going back to Australia to fight him again in his hometown. And once he got the belt, he ain't thought 2 minutes about Jeff Horn. And Jeff Horn is not, I don't think Jeff Horn is as big a threat as Sean Porter is. As Keith Thurman is in a rematch. Because now Keith Thurman has had more fights and is a little more in the flow. So anyway, Manny Pacquiao's not really going to be, too insistent on fighting the guy. Errol Spence Jr. already said, look, man, what you did, shoes on the other foot, son. Shoes on the other foot. You ain't getting no fight with me. As much as I was trying to fight you and you refusing to fight me and, and all that nonsense had me speaking as if I'm Errol Spence Jr. You can feel the pain, right? Having to go over there, having to leave the WBC rankings, right? And to go over to fight Kell Brook in the UK, which at the time had to be the hardest path that you could take to get a championship. The only harder path to get a welterweight champ. That's the hardest path that I know of any of the current champions taken to get the belt that they have. Terence Crawford fought Jeff Horn for his belt, and that's no Kell Brook in the UK fight. Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman. So he made Errol Spence Jr. go the hard way, right? Made him go the hard way. I even think that who did Sean Porter get his belt from? I think Sean Porter won the vacant WBC belt from Danny Garcia. So maybe that is, I don't even think that's on par with going to the UK to fight Kell Brooks. So Errol Spence Jr. ain't, and he stated that he ain't in any mood, to go out of his way to give Keith Thurman a fight, man. He's like, that's in the past. That dude did me like that. Now he can't eat at this table. So sounds perfect. Sounds like a perfect situation for Terence Crawford. But just Terence Crawford, you got to call a bluff, man. Call a bluff. And Terence, hey man, it should be an easier fight than Sean Porter, because at least the style isn't ugly for you. Because you have a guy like Keith Thurman is going to hit you with maybe, hit you with a couple real big shots, try to hit you with some good big shots in the early rounds. But after that, dude, he moves on to boxing. So you might be able to press him, hit him with a body shot, do that undungo to him and get him out of there. That'd probably be an easier fight for you. Or there's a chance Keith Thurman's an easier fight for you than Sean Porter is. Because we all know you ain't in no rush to get to Sean Porter. So shoot, I'll take one notch down, man. I'll take one notch down. Just give me anything, man, please. Terence Crawford, I beg of you, call his bluff and make the fight. Anyway, y'all let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.